If you are maybe going through a phase of maybe lack, and your mind, you're going to bed, you're waking up, and everything you think of lack, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. Unconsciously, you're attracting, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. You're just not aware of it. Because the universal laws are very neutral. It just gives you more of what your frequency is calling in. So it's not even that it's being biased. You might be going through a lot in life. It's not like the consciousness know that it's being biased towards, It's just giving you more of where your mind is at. Because it's stating, this is what you like, so let me give you more of it. You could be someone who's manifested everything else maybe in their life, in terms of comfort, maybe peace, right? But maybe you're struggling financially. It means your self-concept around finances is what you need to adjust. Maybe you believe. Actually, I like the term belief, because ultimately it comes down to your belief system. Maybe you believe, I can only be in this tax bracket. It doesn't matter what you do, even in terms of thinking or saying it. If that is what you believe at the core, that is what reflects in your life lane. So anyone watching this, I just advise them to start from rewiring their belief systems. And this takes changing your mindset. Start thinking of, if someone else can do it, why not me, Lynn? Our thoughts dictate our feelings, and our feelings dictate our frequency. So, Lynn, as you sit there, your frequency is very different from probably the person behind the camera, from someone you run into on the street. And the funny thing is, our frequency dictates the people that we attract to us. So, the minute you come into this level of awareness, it's important that you be very wary of the kind of thought process you have as an individual. Because if that is eventually what creates what you attract in your life, then why are you feeding into maybe fears? Why are you feeding into maybe your immediate environment that things don't look right? So you can easily bend reality. I call it bending reality. You can easily bend reality once you understand that the power is within you as an individual. It's not outside. It's not dictated by your past. It's not dictated by your circumstances. It's not dictated by your job, your position. That power lies within you. If today you woke up and decided, I am worthy, and I want to feel this internally, it's only a matter of time before you can create your new life, Lynn.
Very good morning to you, and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding Restoration Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi, and guys, we are done with one half of the year, and here comes the next one. And I always say, if there's one book that I crave, and I've spoken again and again on the show, that anyone should read, is As a Man Thinketh. I'm putting it on the screen for you guys, because I believe in the power of imagining greater things. And one of the best things that have happened on this show is that we have someone who is such a huge believer in manifestation, abundance. And we were just talking about how sometimes we have this scarcity mentality, and how we are comfortable with getting less in life, but trust you me, this is not prosperity gospel, because I have these conversations with my close friend every other time, and we say, Guy, you remember when we imagined or we manifested this? You remember when we talked about this guy? You remember when we talked about this and this and that? And now sometimes when you see some of these things coming true, it takes you back to those places where you are when the little in your life was happening, but then your mind was so broad and you kept thinking bigger things, and not to be religious, but I listened to T.D. Jakes. I think that's almost like 10 years ago, and he said one of the things his parents would do every other Sunday, they would take a drive now to the Karens and the Rundas of America, and they would just take a drive around those places so that they could expose them to a better living and to a different kind of living than the one they had in their homes. And that played a huge role, because it never left his mind. So today, please have an open mind, because I know our guest is going to bless us, and I know she's going to share a lot on how we can be able to move forward matters abundance, manifestation, and wanting greater and bigger things for ourselves. I'm about to let her introduce herself, but I gotta pay a couple of bills here, so allow me to say thank you so much to our partners at Maridadi Motors for always coming through. Right now, you are familiar with this incredible people, Sir Eric and team, and I've said if you want to go and import a car, try my people at Maridadi Motors. And not only do they import cars for you, they also have an investment plan. They have a driving school, and you can get your car duvets and carpets cleaned at Sparkling as well. And not forgetting the amazing people at King's Developers Limited, a real estate company that is very ISO certified, and you can walk to their building at Prism Towers. You know that beautiful building? Yes, they own that too. So hapa hakuna chalina, watu wako wapi? They at Prism Towers. Go talk to them about the incredible apartments they have. And I've said not only do they have upper end, but they also have medium range and affordable housing for you and a flexible payment plan. So talk to my people at King's Developers Limited, and also to say thank you to my incredible team for putting this work together. You get to see me in front of the camera, but it takes an entire village. And not forgetting you who is watching also for getting us to almost 1 million subscribers. I do appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Bash tunafanya, a promise is a debt. So guys, start preparing your outfits because we are throwing a bash for this 1 million subscribers. But I appreciate you. And now without, and even me for hosting this show. Gai kuangi kazi rahisi, but now guys, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce herself. Good morning.
Good morning, Lynn.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
Really nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is the time I can say the day that the Lord has made is here. I can tell you for free, it's one of the long-awaited conversations on this platform. And I always know one day we will get someone who will walk us through this show, and it couldn't have been any better. You know, it's just doing it with you is a dream come true. So karibu kwetu.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
Yes.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. Waambie jina and please what you do.
My name is Gillian Rose. I'm a senior brand strategist. So basically I scale businesses in terms of revenue and visibility. Also, I'm an African philosopher.
Yeah.
That means I'm so big on energetics, abundance, manifestation, like you've mentioned. I'm also a writer. So basically that's what I do.
Yes. You've authored a book?
I have a blog.
Okay.
I've also been a columnist before with Opera News.
Yes.
So I'm very big on writing. I'm currently working on a book.
Okay.
It's ready. I'll put it out there.
Look, and one of the question may be, because we are talking about manifestation, abundance, and did you manifest this for yourself? Did you always know that one day you will look back and you will define yourself as a brand strategist, as an author, someone who helps people with this information? Did you imagine this for yourself?
I think somewhere deep down, I always knew it will eventually happen. And I think that kept a lot of focus in terms of ensuring it comes into reality. There's how you know even before it happens. So I believe I sort of created this, but I also believe in the grace of God. Yes.
Do you have like a personal experience? Because one thing with manifestation and abundance, you can look like a fool. You will be telling people about the goals and the dreams you have, and they'll be like, "Uyu ni nini anasema," until years later when these things start happening. Where were you, and when did you wake up and you were like, oh my goodness, I manifested all this and now it's coming true?
I think it's gotten to a point where almost every day lately, everything that happens, when I look back at it, it's sort of like there's a part of me that helped create it. Yeah. But I think it's since the beginning of last year that I started to see a lot of changes, because I had gone through a very difficult part of my life. And somehow I can't explain how I got through that. Like, I know I helped create it intentionally.
Yeah.
So it's not just by, how do I say it, by my physical prowess. I think it started mentally. I created that solution. That is the only way I can explain it today. And I say this because I'm still in my 20s. And when I look at the kind of company I've built, when I look at the kind of people I've coached, I believe I manifested this. Yes.
And you said, you know, you are in a difficult place, and one of the things I struggle with, especially personally, I'll share from a personal perspective, when I'm going through a difficult time, I feel like that's when my mind is more positive. Outside it's very difficult, but inside my mind it's more positive. It's like that's when I start, like, it's like self-motivation. You start telling yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, but nothing is working on the outside. But on the inside, you are so psyched, you are cheering yourself up. Have you struggled with that as an individual?
There's at a personal level, there's always a challenge, because our humans, how we are wired, is that we tend to rely so much on what we can currently see. Just this realm that we are in. So what's currently happening in my life? Except that is using intellect. Over the years, I feel like humanity put intellect over intuition. So we tend to look at what's happening in our environment, what phase am I in life. So you feed into that, except you are doing a disservice to yourself, because at a bigger picture, everything is always working for you. That is the difference. So when you look at people who are happy, people who are successful, people who have achieved a number of things in their life, when you look at their story at some point, things are not going right. But you don't feed into that, because you create more of what you feed into. So a habit, I feel like that is why you've also done so well for yourself, Lynn, because you're saying when things are not shaping, you're still giving yourself the inner courage to keep moving. And that is because there's a part of you that has been manifesting your life unknowingly. So there's a challenge always in terms of you want everything around you at the moment to dictate how you feel internally.
Yes.
Right? Most of us, because the human brain tends to lean towards that which we know. Except whatever you can see is not what's your reality is. There's so much going and happening for you. The only difference is the person who is feeding the fears and just looking at the immediate environment, and the person who knows that there's a bigger picture and things are formulating, and so they feed their energy into that which grows them. That is the main difference.
Wow, we've given so much power to intellect, we've forgotten our intuition.
Yes.
What's an intuition? Because people ask me, Lynn, how did you know? I say, I felt it. Ako kakitu nilikafeel, you know, my gut feeling, my intuition. But from an abundance perspective, what is an intuition, and where do you draw the line between? Because also there's been that confusion between, is it manifestation,
Yes.
like evil feelings, like you shouldn't feel like that. Don't, like, do we have power as human beings to create in ourselves the life that we want? Because now, where do we leave God in all of this?
You have immense power, and that is actually God's gift to each and every individual. The difference between people is someone who realizes every single day as you wake up, there's the God consciousness in you. That is what you call at a deeper level, your intuition. It's always speaking and guiding you, except we've not been trained on how to tap into that. So often we allow the thoughts in our mind to dictate the journey and the path we take in life. Yet in reality, you always, everything that you do, even right now for me to be here, at some point there was an intuition that told you this was a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So the ability to actually tap into that intuition is such a blessing, but it's something that you harness, because intuition, when you go down deep into it in terms of psychology, intuition is the very first, how do we put it? It comes to you, it's very subtle. It's like a mother who loves you to the core. So she's not forcing anything down your throat.
Yeah.
She's giving you a very silent, fast guidance, and she's not even forcing you to pick that path. So if you ignore it, she allows you to pick another path. Except the more you listen to her, the more helpful she becomes. It gets to a point whereby once you've harnessed your intuition, nothing catches you off guard, because you've trained to listen to her so much that she does for you everything, from the big things to the small things. So it could be something as simple as when you're trying to work on your makeup, or it could be as when you're trying to get a new contract. So your intuition works hand in hand with you, because you've ensured you've communicated to her, like, I do listen to you. And for me, I believe at the core, intuition is the voice of God. It is the voice of God, because it's always right. And it knows way beyond even intellect.
Yeah.
Like while intellect could be a drop in the ocean, intuition is the ocean. So while you're looking at what you know through that drop, intuition knows beyond what you know. Yes, but I believe it's something that you harness with practice, because it requires you to go back within. The more you go back within and realize that the power lies within you as the individual, not anything outside your environment. Once you reclaim that identity that is God-given internally, naturally your intuition starts to pick. It becomes very sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I want to teach our audience through you how to manifest and even, you know, have greater things happening for themselves. But there's always a correlation between an intuition and your subconscious mind. I was telling you earlier, it's funny how some of the books you've read, I have found myself, I've read them over, you know, maybe a couple of years back. And I remember reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, right? And for me, I could not even understand, I have a conscious mind and then I have a subconscious mind. And then my subconscious mind is more powerful than my conscious mind. What does that mean?
That's a very interesting question. Your subconscious mind is what creates your reality. And your subconscious mind aligns with the frequency you have as a person. When I say the frequency, allow me break it down.
Go on.
Usually, we have random thoughts as human beings. Some things just, when you listen, you can listen to your thoughts. Your thoughts are not who you are. That's why you can listen to them, Lynn. The awareness, the person that is observing those thoughts right now as we talk, the consciousness, that is who you are. That is the God consciousness. Otherwise, the thoughts are things that pass in and out. Now, a lot of us are stuck in the thoughts that are flowing in our mind. So you are in that mud without knowing you are the awareness that is supposed to be observing the thoughts. Now, why are our thoughts important? Because our thoughts dictate our feelings, and our feelings dictate our frequency. So, Lynn, as you sit there, your frequency is very different from probably the person behind the camera, from someone you run into on the street. And the funny thing is, our frequency dictates the people that we attract to us, the opportunities that we attract to us, the avenues in life that we follow, comes down to the frequency, how we are vibrating at the core. This is what dictates how you manifest. It's something called a paradigm, because at the core of who you are, right now there's so much research. Even quantum physics is now supporting this ideology. We have no science backing this up from their research. At the core of humanity, usually before science was saying we were basically just atoms made the chemical elements. Today they're realizing atoms is actually collapsed frequency. So basically at the core, everything is energy at the core. That is what forms life and different things. Anything that you can see is a form of energy. Now, at the core, as a human being, you are also operating at that level. So you have something called a frequency. A frequency is what you emit, which explains why whenever you're having a bad day, everything seems to go wrong.
Yes.
You're knocking your feet. You know, things are just... Because the frequency you are at that moment is attracting everything that resonates with that. So the awareness of this is what dictates what you create in your life in terms of manifestation. When you know that life is energy. So I'm bound to attract that which resonates with the frequency I am at. So how do you do this practically? By understanding that your frequency is dictated by your thoughts and feelings. Because it's how you feel that will dictate that energy field that you are in. Your thoughts definitely dictate your feelings, which dictates your frequency. So this is why it's important, and why it brings back to the mental plane. Your thoughts are creating your life.
Yes.
You're just not aware of it.
Yeah.
So the minute you come into this level of awareness, it's important that you be very wary of the kind of thought process you have as an individual. Because if that is eventually what creates what you attract in your life, then why are you feeding into maybe fears? Why are you feeding into maybe your immediate environment that things don't look right? Yeah. So you can easily bend reality. I call it bending reality.
Yeah.
You can easily bend reality once you understand that the power is within you as an individual. It's not outside. It's not dictated by your past. It's not dictated by your circumstances. It's not dictated by your job, your position. That power lies within you. If today you woke up and decided, I am worthy, and I want to feel this internally, it's only a matter of time before you can create your new life. Yes.
Do you think it springs from the fact that the mind, you know, I think for me, the realization was always knowing that I control my mind doesn't control me. Do you think people have not yet realized that they have power over their mind and their mind doesn't have power over them? Like, your mind is an organ, your mind is like your hand, your whatever. So do you actually think you can practically tell your mind what to do as compared to having your mind tell you what to do?
It is possible, and it starts from recognizing why your thought process works the way it does. You know, a lot of us growing up, we form our self-concept through the lens of how we grew up and our experiences through life. So your self-concept is shaped by maybe your childhood, maybe the education you did partake, maybe the trauma you've experienced so far, your experiences, joy, love, grief, all those things form your self-concept. So your self-concept is how you see yourself and how you relate to the world around you, Lynn. So you find a number of people, because they have this limited self-concept, it means even their thought process cannot fathom this level of discussion, because it's almost like chemically your brain can't process it because of how you see yourself. So it's important that you start from recognizing, why is my thought process the way it is? And sometimes it comes from even a scarcity mindset, which is shaped by a number of things, Lynn, right? So for example, if you're the kind of person that feels pain to spend money, it shows you there's a scarcity problem there. Yeah. If you are the kind of person that is always overgiving, you don't understand that you're compensating for something. So you believe that I have, even if you're employed, I have to do everything, the extra mile to please other people. There is a problem there. Or you are someone who operates from fear. So you're afraid to take risk. So all these things you find comes from how you've been shaped through your life. But the first step to healing even your thought process is recognizing these dysfunctional patterns in your life. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scarcity.
Yes.
Let's talk about it, because sometimes our interpretation when it comes to scarcity is finances. We will always equate scarcity to the money I can spend, but do we have scarcity also in our thoughts? And also when we are talking about a scarcity mentality, that's why it's a mentality. What exactly are we talking about, and how do I shift from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality?
So when you look at scarcity, it's very interesting how most people perceive it.
Yes.
Because some people think because you grew up poor, you have a scarcity mindset. You can grow up poor, but you didn't really live through scarcity. And you can grow up even rich, but you live through scarcity.
No way.
Yes, because it's not just a financial angle. If you grew up in maybe a less fortunate home, but that home had some love in it, that home had some comfort, that home had some safety, you grew up in a very abundant environment. And you could have grown up in a mansion, right? But that home lacked the safety. Yes. It lacked the warmth, the love, you know? You still grew up in scarcity. So that is the one thing that most people are not aware of. So it's not really even about your past. When you look at scarcity, it's a mentality that is formed from a number of things. And a big chunk of it comes from fear. If anything you do stems from fear, that is a scarcity mindset that if you can solve that, then there's nothing you can't create in your life. And fear comes from you're so scared to even take risks. You are scared to go to the next chapter. Like there was a point you are employed somewhere and you figured, you know what, it's time to create my own show. Yes. For you to take that step, it means you had to overcome certain level of fear. And somehow the universe tends to reward that.
Yes.
It tends to reward that because it's telling you you've believed in the ability that you are provided for.
And I wish, allow me, because God, like I wish many people would believe in this part. You know, it's funny, again, we were having a conversation yesterday, and one of the people, during my transition period, someone had advised my partner and told him, like, tell her to go back to that place. She's making such a huge mistake, you know. And again, goes back to what I'm telling you. Sometimes I think the most confusing part for people is when I know what I'm doing is so right that I know I'm unstoppable, but everything around me looks so difficult, you know. Does that mean during manifestation and during as transit, you know, kwenda huko mbele, does it mean that it's very important also to make sure the people we are sharing our vision with, it's like we have to make sure the people we are sharing our vision, we really have to be careful, because it can knock you out and it can make you start doubting yourself. Because I think for me, it's because I block, especially when I know I'm going towards the right direction. Even if I'm sleeping hungry, my mind is full. Like nimeshiba, like me, I'm good and I know I'm going and I'm good. Like honestly, I know I'm unstoppable. But sometimes I look back and I'm like, what if I had listened to all these noises? What if I had allowed that to get into me? And the truth is, it does get to you sometimes, because I had a thing or two and then I started actually paying attention, and then it was, I'm always like, had I not read that I can control my brain and my brain can't control me, if I had let that get into my brain, I would have not made a step forward. So when we are manifesting, do we share or do we not share? Or who do we share to?
I think it's important to realize who is around you. Yeah. And again, if your energy at the end of the day, it can be tampered with. So as long as you're convinced internally, this is for me as an individual, I'd prefer if you had people who are supportive, well and good. But if you're sure there's somebody else would make you change your mind, I'd rather than you keep it to yourself, right? Until you get to a point of confidence in talking about it. And this is because people, we don't share visions. We don't share visions, we don't share life path. This is something people forget all the time. I could want the very best for you, but because of my own belief systems, I would probably put fear in your heart. I might mean well for you. So it's important to look at who are you sharing with, maybe your life vision, your goals with, because they have the ability to tamper in terms of dictating maybe your energy. Maybe if someone tells you, are you sure that could work? You know, you're going to start having your own level of doubts. But I believe if something is meant for you, you're very convinced about it, it doesn't matter what people think. If you stay on that path, you'll make it happen for yourself. Yes.
And is manifestation always towards the good things, or can we manifest bad things for ourselves, and can they come true?
The one thing about life is life has such good balance. There is never at consciousness as a whole, as a matter of fact, good and bad just are scaled at the core. So it's not that you can only manifest good. You as a matter of fact, you might be subconsciously manifesting things you don't want. You're just not aware of it. That is how incredible life is, because it gives you more of what you pay attention to. So it's very important that you look at where you're paying attention and where your awareness lies. Because if you are maybe going through a phase of maybe lack, and your mind, you're going to bed, you're waking up, and everything you think of lack, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. Unconsciously, you're attracting, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. You're just not aware of it. Because the universal laws are very neutral. It just gives you more of what your frequency is calling in. So it's not even that it's being biased. You might be going through a lot in life. It's not like the consciousness know that it's being biased towards, you know. It's just giving you more of where your mind is at. Because it's stating, this is what you like, so let me give you more of it. It's how our algorithms work in the internet. You realize if you're someone who loves going through certain things, you get more of that. That is just how the universe works too. It's an algorithm at the end of the day. So it's more of what do you pay attention to, because that is more of what you create. If you pay more attention to the things that make you feel good, the small things that keep you, elevate your frequency, then more things start attracting in your environment. So things could be going haywire, but you choose to focus on the one thing that is going right. You just try to divide your attention to that. Then ultimately you start seeing pathways opening, and now better things are coming to you because you focused on what's good. So your attention is drawing that. And then if things are not going right and you're focusing on more of things are not okay, maybe I'm broke, maybe I'm in luck, maybe I lose my job. You're focusing on the negative things. That is what you create more of, because the universe is figuring out, Lynn wants more of that. So let's give her more of that. It's not biased. It will give you that which you pay more attention to. It's just how life works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's use a layman's language.
Yeah.
Julian, I need money. I am not making enough money. For example, say I'm making 5K. I need to move from making 5K to 100K. How do I go about that? So and is it even possible, or we just daydreaming?
It is possible. I mean, we've done it. It is possible. So many humans have done it. This is no research has gone into this for over now so many years.
Yes.
So many years. There's so many publications that have come out to prove this is right. So you're earning maybe that 5K. And the reason you're earning that 5K because that is how your life has unfolded so far. It means whatever you're doing is resulting into that 5K. So you're going to continue earning 5K until you realize, I need to move. I need to move to the energy of someone earning maybe 20K or 30K. How does this person move, right? Or I need to move to the energy of someone earning 100,000. So you're in a position where you lack this money and you want more of this money. There are two people in this world. One person will focus on the lack. I have this 5,000 only here, right? So you'll continue to stay at that. And then someone else will figure out, I need to move into the next tax bracket. How do I do this? So they realize there's something I need to change. Now, here is a few hacks that I've personally coached people to do over the years, because these small things start moving into that level of abundance. So let's say you are earning at that particular, you want to move to the next bracket. You should do simple things that bring abundance into your life. You don't have to go ahead and spend so much. But if you can have something small in your environment that reminds you of abundance, that is already shifting you to that next frequency. So if this means you'll go take evening walks and feel better, do that. If this means you'll buy yourself something, it could be a lotion, it could be a face cream that makes you feel abundant. Anything that will draw for you that feeling of, I've elevated, I feel good, even if it's something small. If that means taking yourself out for coffee somewhere, in a very nice restaurant, you're not spending much, but your environment is of abundance.
Your
environment.
Your environment.
Yes. So you need to learn how to move yourself into bring things that feel abundant in your life. So even if it means you walk into a neighborhood that you don't live in, you know, but relating with that makes you feel, I could be here someday, and that makes you feel good inside. So there's small things that human beings ignore that make you feel abundant inside. Do it. If it means you don't even want to spend money, but you want to move into maybe nature, you know, be reminded that in the greater things, we are very small entities in the universe. If that will make you feel good, do more of that. Yes. So it's practically just ensuring your vibration is lifted. Then you're slowly moving out of where you are to where you want to go to. Yes.
Usha notice ukianza kutumia lotion expensive, pesa ikosangi. Like ukisha move into, like nitakuwa natumia hii.
Yes.
No, maybe
outer ikosa the next, ikiisha will refill
the money will still be there.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
So you gotta surround yourself with something that speaks abundance.
Yes.
What other hack is there?
Another thing is practicing. Being very intentional with what you pay attention to. So every single day, Lynn, we only have so much willpower as a human being. So your energy in the course of the day, people spend it on different things. So you run into someone on the road, they're very mean on traffic, you pick on their energy, you've absorbed it. Yeah? So you don't realize that while they're engaging with this person, you've dropped down to their level. Right? So it's also awareness in terms of what are you paying more attention to. Because in the course of the day, there's so much you're going through. But if you're paying more attention to the things you don't want, that is what you're feeding. So another avenue is just being very aware.
Wow.
in terms of where your attention and your awareness is. It's a game changer in life, because it dictates where your energy is invested. That dictates your frequency. So you're attracting more to you by what you pay more attention to. So it's very important to cultivate a habit of positive thinking, even in the face of things not being right. Over the years, once you practice this, you arrive at a point whereby you realize even when things are not going right, it's actually happening for you, because the universe is giving you a chance to create.
Hey.
Yeah, it's like you have this whole energy. How can you alchemize it what you want? But humans beings, most of us we are so limited in our view of how things fold. So we are so caught up in what's happening in our life. You're so caught up in that little thing that is happening in your life. It denies you the energy to move into that which you want. Yet when things are going wrong, it's a chance for you. The universe is giving you on a platter. Create something. Yeah. Create something. And it's as easy as just shifting your mindset to that which you want, instead of focusing on what's going on.
Yeah.
That is what bridges that gap.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that, the realization that even when things are not going right for me, yes, they are not going right, but this is an opportunity for me to grow something out of this situation. But where is the practicability of things? Because if I'm going to move from a job that's paying me 5K to 100K, where is the skills connection? Does that mean that I also have to advance in my skills? Does that mean that I have now to be practical? No one is going to hire me if my skills are not equal to 100K. So does that mean, even as I'm surrounding myself with abundance, things that really speak abundance to me, positive thinking, does that mean that I also have to do the work? Kazi ya mkono. Ama, I just sit and say, abundance is going to take care of me, you know?
Oh my, I like that question, because I feel like the answer lies all around us. When you look at how the world is, when you look at how even Mother Earth is, there's so much detail that has gone into it. It tells you there's a creator behind, there's a creator behind the creation. And in the creator himself, when you look at everything around you, you can see there is work that has gone into it. When you look at a bird, when you look at a tree, those details, it tells you it wasn't random. Someone was very intentional on how Lynn's ears would look like.
Yes.
Yeah, how your eyes would be. Yeah, so it's those work that got into it. But here's the thing that most people don't understand, is that the work you put into it does not have to equate to the output. So we live in a society whereby there's this hustle culture, because you are told that you have to do something with your physical to bring something out. Except when you understand how consciousness works, and you lean more into your intuition, and you lean into more how you feel good, it means the ideas to make whatever you want will come to you. Not in a very linear way, the way everybody does things. But we have people making money out here, Lynn, from everything. We have someone you're making money from running something you love, right? We have people making money from different avenues, but it took them listening to their inner self to find that path. So it's a path of very least resistance. You're not going against what feels good to you to have that money at the end of the day. Because look at it this way. The reason we even want more finances and more abundance is to be able to live the lifestyle we want. That lifestyle could be freedom, it could be happiness, it could be joy. It still comes down to the feeling. So the material is not the end goal. The end goal is the feeling. So how are you taking a shortcut? You can take a shortcut to arrive to the feeling first. Then the material just shows up.
So we've spoken about visualization, which means put two things around that reminds you abundance. Does it explain why the one you just said, like walk towards your gut, does it explain why we will be working so hard and earning so little?
Yes.
Because we want survival.
When you look at society, the people that put in the most, for example, physical effort, to say, for example, mtu wako kwa mjengo, yeah? When you look at how Kenya compensates that, it's not even fair in terms of rates. Right? But this is someone that has put so much effort the course of the day to do this, so much energy. So it doesn't equate. Hard work will not equate to the result. That is not that is not how it works. It's more of aligning with who you are at the core. So this is why there's someone doing so little, but because they are aligned with what makes who they are at the core, you find things happen for them more easily. So it's coming back and knowing internally that I have the power to bend my reality. I have the power to create that which I want. You start being intentional about it. And I don't know how it works, but naturally cues will come to you because now you are listening. You're in a frequency that you can receive. You know, whenever you're out of frequency, you find you're repelling things. So even something that you knew, I was going to sign this contract, I was going to get this deal, somehow it just gets out of the door. But if you are aligned in terms of your thought process, in terms of how you feel, knowing that things are happening for you always, even if they don't look like they're happening for you, eventually cues come to you to pursue a path that is fulfilling for you. And through doing this, you earn in the process. And now that is unlimited. So you get to dictate how much you get to earn. So you find you could be someone who's manifested everything else maybe in their life, in terms of comfort, maybe peace, right? But maybe you're struggling financially. It means your self-concept around finances is what you need to adjust. Maybe you believe, actually I like the term belief because ultimately it comes down to your belief system. Maybe you believe I can only be in this tax bracket. It doesn't matter what you do even in terms of thinking or saying it. If that is what you believe at the core, that is what reflects in your life lane. So anyone watching this, I just advise them to start from rewiring their belief systems. And this takes changing your mindset. Start thinking of, if someone else can do it, why not me, Lynn? Because all of us that have been at a point where we had nothing, but you got out of that. So anybody else can do it. You need to start coming back to yourself. Don't look at where you are in life. Don't look at your circumstances. Don't look at what you've achieved so far. Your identity should be internal. All of us are God's consciousness. All of us are God's within. You have the ability to create your life. You just need to identify with that part of you that knows, I'm going to do this. I don't know how, I'm going to do it. The minute you come to that resolution, you will find a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where do affirmations come in? Because sometimes people will say, you know, wake up, go to your mirror and say these things, you know, I am beautiful, I am rich, even
yeah.
even when you know between you and the bank is a loan.
Yes.
So you are like, do affirmations really work? And what's the connection between me saying these things loud? Because there's always that concept of say it loud to yourself, feel it, you know, go to the mirror, you know, practice it, feel it. Where is the correlation between that in my mind, and is it really effective?
It is effective, but I feel like the mainstream media does not teach it right. Or maybe on digital platforms, they don't teach it right because they come from the point where they've already arrived at the affirmation. Except if you're affirming something, you don't believe it. Every day you look yourself in the mirror, you say, I am smart, I am successful, I am this, but you don't believe it at the core. There are people who can do it over time, and now that belief system starts to sink in. This is why affirmations sometimes work. And they work for a majority of people. If you can do it over time and get yourself, the point is not the affirmation. The point is getting to a belief system that believes these things you're saying about yourself. Because you can't cheat how the universe works. You have to internally believe, I am successful, I am worthy. And this comes from your self-concept, if you allow me to go back to it. Because if you can work on your self-concept, your belief systems will flow. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is your belief system. The only reason you're earning that particular amount of money is because you believe this is what I can earn in a month. The only reason maybe you are restricted yourself, maybe if you're from this country, you only think I can work with people within these borders, is because your mind tells you this is what you can do. If you start thinking I can work with global clans, you'll get to achieve that. If you start thinking I can move into the next phase of my life, you'll get there eventually. But it comes down to your self-concept because this dictates what you believe in, Lynn. So psychology says your self-concept is made of three parts that are core. One would be your ideal self. Another one would be your emotional intelligence, right? So you look at your ideal self is how you see yourself and right now and where you're supposed to be. So do you have a vision around where you're going to? Because it's so important to know that you can actually get there. Just have at least that picture in mind. Where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? Do you think... So it starts from being intentional about having that picture. So you have to look at it from the perspective of, I am here, yes, but my ideal self, yeah, is someone who maybe can travel the world at the whim of thought. Yeah, I want to be in Maldives tomorrow. I could be in Maldives tomorrow. I want to go to... So you need to arrive at a point whereby you are very clear on that person. What does that person lifestyle look like? What are their hobbies? What do they do for fun? You know, what are their passions in? Yeah. It starts from understanding at the core, who is your ideal self? So that will really help you shape your self-concept, because you'll realize, I am here, yes, but this is where I want to go to. So it means for me to bring this vision into reality, then I have to start adjusting how I see myself. You can only start doing that by seeing at least that picture as a whole. And another part would be emotional intelligence. So this is how you relate with things around you and even with yourself internally. Can you regulate your emotions? We don't talk about this enough, Lynn. But the ability to regulate your emotions, regulate your nervous system, dictates so much of who you are. As a matter of fact, someone who regulates their nervous system can barely even be sick.
Whoa.
Yes.
For real?
Yes, because a big portion of illness comes from stress. Stress is based on just your inability to regulate your nervous system. So you are feeding more of what's wrong. And that is now creating other things in your life. So you find you get ill, you are in lack, stuff like that. So the ability to regulate your emotions and of those around you, it's very important. How you relate with how you feel, how things are going. If you can learn to calm your nervous system, Lynn, that is probably the most important thing anybody could ever do in life. Just learn to calm your nervous system. If you live from that point of calmness, you give yourself a chance to create anything you want out of life. Because things could be happening to you, but they don't shake you at the core. So it means they bounce off you. Yeah. It's like light, it bounces off. So it's important that as humanity, we figure how to regulate our nervous system. If it takes you being in nature, if it takes you being with people you love, if it takes you isolating, figure out what brings that calmness in you. If you can hone that calmness, your solutions will come to you naturally. You'll be seated somewhere and there's just a download telling you, this is the next venture, let's do it. Yes. Yes. But you can't have those downloads if you're not calm, because your frequency is not attracting even the information you need to elevate your life. Yes.
That's profound.
Yeah.
Journaling, because I've even, like, something is happening in my life right now. And I was just looking at a journal I had in 2012, and I had written it right there, right? And I've had it also on this show. Someone will come and say, Lynn, I wrote this. I wrote this, so I put it in my vision board. Do journals and vision boards help in fastening this manifestation? Do they help? They
do help. And this is because they remind you of the end goal at the end of it. If you're affirming, if you're journaling, right? First of all, journaling is a way of releasing. So you're releasing anything that is energetically not serving you, because you're getting it out of your mind and you're pulling it out. So journaling helps in that element, and it also helps to bring clarity to your mindset and your thoughts. Because when you're journaling, you have to outline. So in that outlining things, you're arranging your thought process. So yes, they do work. And having a vision board reminds you of that which you want. So the longer you can hold that picture in your mind and at depth, the faster it can actually come to you. Because now you're bridging the gap in from where you are to where you're gonna go to in terms of belief. You know it's actually possible. All it takes is the ability for you to arrive at knowing that this is possible for me. That is where it starts from.
So does it mean our mind is very pictorial?
It is. The human mind is very, how do you say it, vividly visual.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's easier for you to create that which you want by already seeing it, because it bridges who you are at the core, in the sense that I know where I'm going. It's only a matter of time. And then the funny thing is, we call it the red car theory. Today, if you wanted to buy a new car, and you pick, let's say I want to do a Benz as a new car, and maybe I say I want maybe a red Benz. Somehow today, if I go around Nairobi, I'll be seeing red Benzes. Almost, it's something you don't see every day, but because your mind pictured a red Benz before, now as you go through your day, your mind has picked it. It's picked it from the whole thing. Now you're seeing cars. Yeah. That particular car everywhere you go. Even if you're looking for a house, now suddenly you're seeing what you want, options. Even if you're scrolling online, everything is connected. It's now coming. Yes.
You know?
It's now coming. Yeah. So this realization, the red car theory dictates that you need to be intentional with that which you want, because suddenly clues now will come in because you've picked it out. So it's very important to bring your attention and awareness to that which you're trying to create, to that which you want. Because once you are clear on this, and once it's something that you keep looking at, and for example, like you said, visions and all that, it's now it starts coming to your reality. You start finding pathways. Another thing is being flexible. Don't think of how you thought it's gonna be, it's how it's gonna be. Have the goal in mind, let the universe do its magic. It always does. You'll arrive at that goal, you'll be like, oh my God, we're actually here. You wouldn't even know how you got there.
I love that.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be
linear.
No. You just wait to arrive.
No, the human brain, we think things have to be very conventional. No. Picture the end goal, be very clear on it. Suddenly, pathways will come. You can take very different pathways, but you'll arrive at that which you want eventually. Yes.
Let me go back to the mind. I think it was, who is this person? I think it was, no, Lisa Nichols on Tom Bilyeu's impact theory. Yes. And I remember she was talking about how she was able to conquer her mind. And she said something, I think our mind is there to protect us. So that means that if this is a balcony, it's like a first floor balcony, my mind will tell me that I can't go an extra step because I will fall down, because my mind is wired to protect me. So what happens when I want to go somewhere but my mind is telling me, you stay here? Because your mind is supposed to protect you. That's like, it's just wired that way. I'm supposed to protect Lynn. So what happens if I want to go to the dangerous zones but my mind is still here? Because now that's a war within you. It's a war inside you. You and your mind, you are battling. How do I control that? So
first is understanding that how the human brain it tends to lean on, like you said, protecting you. So the human brain loves the familiar so much. This is why you find people struggling even to get out of relationships. They're struggling to get to the next level because your brain, in essence, is protecting you. It wants you to remain at that which you know. So the first step is recognizing that your first enemy in that process is your mind. So how do you shift your mindset? Because your brain is keeping you in a loophole, in a box, you know, that which is familiar. So the first step is being aware that this is what's keeping you stuck. So how do we move this mindset? Yes. So it's the intention. It takes awareness, then intention. I love breaking it down to two parts. We have the inner energy and then mastering the outer energy. So the inner energy is you have control over your thoughts and your feelings, which dictate the frequency of that which you attract, right? And the outer energy is sort of mastery of a few of the universal laws. So you know, for every cause there's action, stuff like that. So it's moving also towards with in the practical world. What am I doing every day to move towards that which I want? Some people think manifestation, you'll picture this thing and sit back and it will fall on your lap. God is not that lazy. No. No. Yes. It's about, it starts from the mental plane, yes. But this is to find you solutions in the physical plane for that to come to you. So the mental plane goes beyond you and looks for the better option, the better steps for you to take. Then it will nudge you. It will nudge you through your intuition. It will nudge you through opportunities around you. It will bring something and ask, it's like a bet. Is she gonna pick? It's like a dog you're giving food, are they gonna grab it? Yes. So the more you hone your intuition, the more you hone your thoughts and awareness, you'll be able to pick it more clearly. Yeah. So you can pick whenever you're thrown that bone and take now that path. Okay. So it's a matter of balancing the two worlds, but knowing they go toe in toe. Yes.
And now I've arrived, say, for example, I manifested something. It's now coming into fruition. I've personally, from a personal perspective, I've always struggled between me talking about it looks like pride and me not talking about it at all. So sometimes it will even stop me from celebrating something when I arrive at it, though I manifested it a couple of years back. But when I get into now that place, I hold back. I don't even believe it's mine. I'm like for example, if even I get a car, I won't drive it for a while because it still hasn't registered in my mind that it's mine. Where does that struggle come from?
Remember when I talked about scarcity?
Yes.
Part of it is the inability to actually enjoy the growth process. So you find over time, because you're really working to get to the point you are in, a number of, and this is such a problem in our society, they want more and more and more. This is why we're even having issues when you look politically.
Yes.
Because nobody's ever contented. You really wanted to get to this point, you've gotten to this point, now you don't get to enjoy it. I personally believe this even stops you from now bringing more. Because part of the things that you need to be very aware of as you're trying to create more in your life is how you feel internally. And one of the best gifts you could ever have as a person is the ability to slow down, look around you, look at the steps you've made, and just, how do I say it?
Take it all in.
Yes, take it all in. Just in that moment, try to have that internal enjoyment of the growth process you've had, of things you've done. And sometimes it could be the little things. But you say, this is what I was going to do, and I've done it. Just take a moment to commend yourself. Take a moment to feel gratitude. Gratitude is such a big force in creating that which you want. It gives an air of abundance, you know, having all that. So gratitude, the more you practice gratitude, the more you realize things come to you. It's like everybody in your circle, the one person that is always grateful for things that you do for them, you always find yourself you want to do more for them, naturally. Yeah. So that is the same trait, character the universe has. So if you're the kind of person that is very grateful at the core for how your life is unfolding, even if things are not right, but you're aware of, even who I am, this is grace. It's not by my doing. This is God's grace. This is not just my doing. Yeah. The ability to be the kind of person that can enjoy themselves and their life is such an opener.
Now, mine is not even towards I want more. You prayed for this cup.
Yes,
you got it. This cup is here. But when this cup gets here, you feel even touching it, like, you know, because you're just looking at it like, wait a minute, is this actually? So I feel like it takes me months to, it's already here, which means practically I should go straight and put something and start drinking, but I'm gonna shelf it like there. Then I'll just keep looking at it. Then I'll keep asking, is it, like, you don't believe it. Where does that come from?
Partly,
but you are grateful though. You are very grateful, but you are just like taking time to analyze, you know. It's like you don't believe it, but yet you prayed for it, but when it comes now, you don't believe it.
I think it's the aftermath of fear. So there's a part of you that knows I've gotten here, but there's a part of you questioning, what if I lose it? Or what if I fail? What if I go steps back? Yeah, so you can't fully enjoy what you've created so far, in that moment, because there's a part of you that feels, what if it goes back to where it was? What if I lose this? So there's a subconscious, there's just a subtle fear in your subconsciousness, but it's not as big, because the fact that you've gotten there, it means you've learned to manage it. Yeah. So it's just understanding that it's there and working on it. Yes, but try revel in what you've done. Like I'm so proud of you. You've done so well for yourself. So try enjoy it. Yes.
Is it an imposter syndrome also? Like, do you think it could be related, or is it unprocessed trauma also?
It could be related. But the funny thing is, even imposter syndromes, you should not have such. I know it happens, but when you look at it, it's nobody's an imposter. It just comes from your fears of not belonging in that bracket yet, or unfamiliarity. Yes. So you think you're an imposter, but no. at a global standards, you're one of the best interviewers, right? So it's
You see?
yeah. So this imposter syndrome is this thing that I wish humanity could work on. There's nothing as an imposter. You're at that level because you've earned it. And if you're comparing yourself to people who've done it before, you're doing it different. Nobody's another Lynn.
Yeah.
Nobody's another Julian.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, what have been your struggles towards the journey of manifestation and abundance? What is it that you struggled with and now you look at it and you understand, yeah, this was a struggle, and how did you handle it?
I think the belief, for me, it was for a long time, it's thinking that I was doing this just by myself, right? So in my journey, I found whenever things were not going right, sometimes I'd freak out, right? Over time, I've gotten over it, because over time, you strengthen that muscle through being aware of the things that are actually always happening for you, right? So there was a point in my life whereby I was transitioning, and it wasn't easy. I'd say that was a big challenge. But then over time, I've worked to understand that things are always working out for me. Even if I'm not aware, things are always working out for me. Eventually, things work out, Lynn. They do. This is why you can start a project. You don't even have the right finances. Someone will finish that project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can be at a very low point. You can be going through maybe relationship issues. You think this is the best person I could find. Eventually, you meet someone else and you're like, this is why it didn't work out. Yeah. So I believe it's moving from the picture, the small picture we have, in just knowing there's always a larger picture and things are always working out for you. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Things are always working out for us. For me, I believe that every single time, like no matter what is happening, things are working out for my good. You know, like, not just for me, but for my good. Even if it's bad, it has its goodness at the end of it. After you've coached people, because you do coaching also, right? What is one thing that you've identified majority of us are struggling with?
I think a big part would be the scarcity mindset. And I think it comes from maybe our environment growing up and how you've experienced life. So when I look at most of the students that I've coached over time, it comes from, it's scarcity mindset, but also self-concept. So how you see yourself and your ability actually dictates your life. This is why I was saying you have the ability to bend reality. You can create your life. So when I look at it, a big challenge that most people go through is a scarcity mindset. You don't think you're good enough to earn that. You don't think you're good enough to live a certain lifestyle. You don't think you're good enough to speak in front of people, right? So you don't have the confidence to do it. It comes from a very deep-rooted self-concept and also scarcity mindset. And I loved the video you spoke about. I think I can't quite let you phrase it, but you were talking about giving in too much. You know what my regret has always been? In my previous workplace, I felt like I gave so much, you know, so much in all my previous workplaces, you know, and it's like you, and I was so proud. I even work on Saturdays, on Sundays. You know, you are the first in the office, you are the last to come out. And until I had that thing where, because you're expecting something and you want even someone to be able to see it and acknowledge it and appreciate it. But it's like the more you work and work and work, the more you are the good person in the office, the more no one cares. The more, by the way, no one even, it's like no one sees it, you know. And I think I went back and I listened to, I can't remember her name, and she was like, no wonder you look back and you've worked so hard or you've done something, and then the realization will be, no one asked you to do it in the first place, you know. And that hurt my feelings so bad. So, because I realized there are people, even in work cultures, work environments, who want to do more than even they are getting paid for, in the hope that someone will see their effort and they will reward their effort. Would you advise them to keep going, or would you tell them work for what they are paying you for? Actually, it's a flaw. You know why it's a flaw? Because the reason you're overcompensating is because you think your value comes from what you do, not who you are.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's something that you have to be aware of and start working on realizing that you can shift your mindset and your self-concept. your value comes from who you are, Lynn. Whatever you're providing for your previous employers, your value was you, and you've transferred that value here. It was not basically just what you're doing. So you overcompensating is actually a flaw in terms of you are trying to measure up through what you do. But our life is, Lynn, you can never do enough to actually satisfy humans.
Yes.
The more you do, as a matter of fact, the more you become a problem. So tend to show up in your work and in your life as who you are. And don't look for value through what you do. If you show up every day and I am the very best at what I do, and if this means I'm coming in at 9 and leaving at 4, or I'm coming in for particular hours, but I've given my very best and I'm out. What you think of my work culture is up to you, right? I know what I'm bringing on the table. So your value should always come from who you are, not what you do.
Not what you do.
The reason you're overcompensating even in your relationships is because you think there's something you lack that you need to keep compensating by doing. Yes. And especially women, I feel I'm very passionate about women and what they do, especially when you look at relationships all the time, women go through so much. And it's because they keep doing and they think that love comes from doing. Someone should just love you for who you are. So even this is not just a financial aspect. Even in your relationships, even in how you relate with people, tend to come to the table through your value.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've ever had that thing that you as a woman, you will bend, you will do whatever, you will clean even the ceiling, everything. And your man is still going to end up with a woman who can't even cook.
As a matter of fact, I don't know how they are wired. I don't know how males are wired psychologically, but they somehow treat you better when you're doing the bare minimum.
Yes, honestly. You know, we are just be a baby girl.
Yeah, be a baby girl.
Like,
soft life.
Be a baby girl, you know, like you will give and clean the ceiling, and he still go end up with a woman who can cook porridge, you know, like just do the bare minimum. But I appreciate you. I think this was an amazing conversation. But before we wind up, I notice you also read a lot. Could you share with our audience 3 books that you think can help them towards their journey in abundance and manifestation?
I think one would be Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. He's a neuroscientist, I think. Brilliant at what he does.
Yes.
Another one would be The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
What would be the third book? I think there's also The Mountain in You.
Yep.
That is also a good copy. So there's so many books. I also have a masterclass 31st of this month.
Oh yeah.
So if someone wants to learn more of this sort of knowledge, 31st at the Fiesta in Karen.
Okay.
Yes.
How can they register?
They probably, when you share this, I don't know. Yes. Or they can look up just Julian Rose in my platforms. They'll find the information there.
All right.
Yes.
Guys, the details are on the screen on how to connect. But this has been awesome. I recommend also The Power of Now. It's a mind-blowing,
beautiful book.
It's a very beautiful, like, guys, it's exactly as it says, the power of what?
Now.
The power of now. But thank you so much for sharing this. But I don't want to wind up in case there is anything you feel we've not touched on. Please feel free before we wind up.
So maybe the biggest takeaway for whoever is watching this would be you're going to be able to create your life, but it has to come from a point of silence within. So for you to be able to arrive at this point, try cultivate a habit of spending a few minutes by yourself in the course of the day. So if this means you're going to lock yourself in a room somewhere, just anywhere that would bring you at calmness within yourself, that will really give you a chance to rewire your mindset and your thought process, because you're slowing down the thoughts coming in your mind. And when you're doing this, as you start to do this, initially it will be hard to empty your mind, because it's good to take these 15-10 minutes of yourself in the course of the day for yourself and try to empty your mind, because what you're doing is now you're giving yourself a chance to rewire your thought process. So in those 15 minutes, as you begin, it will be hard to empty your mind, because so many thoughts are coming in. But it's something once you do out of practice, you'll arrive at a point where you can sit, lean, and you can totally empty your mind. You can lock everything out. You can lock the thoughts of your past, the thoughts of your future, and just sit with yourself in that moment. When you create that gap, it will allow you to now be able to create new thoughts, which dictate your life. Yes.
Good. Thank you so much. People can connect with you through your social platforms. Yes. Do you have an email or socials?
Julian Rose. Email should be julian@michdigital, digital.co.ke.
All right.
Yes.
I know scholar umefeel aje. Mungu Robert, you're here. How was it? You good? You learned a thing or two? Yeah. Yeah, nice flow. Yeah, God. Guys, I honestly also hope that you guys have learned a thing or two. It's been the conversation I have wanted. And you see how things flow. When did we talk about having someone talk to us about manifestation?
We were in Loitoktok.
We were in Loitoktok? Yes. Yeah, like honestly, see, like when we say things will just flow and then you will, and I've noticed there's that trend even when I want to do a show.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to do it with, for example, a different person, and then God just places the person that is right for this entire conversation. And it's a 360 thing, and we feel fulfilled, and we feel like, I believe we've given our audience what they needed for this particular moment. But guys, if also there's anything else you would want Julian to come and talk to us about, or if you have questions, you can also leave them on the comment section, and she can also come and answer some on the comment section. But if there's a certain topic that you also feel that she can help us with on the platform, also suggest that for me on the comment section. And if it's something you can't put publicly, info@lnn.digital is very much open for you. Drop me that email there. But I hope you've learned, and I hope you've picked something. You know, we always share our take homes, so share that too with me on the comment section. But other than that, I appreciate you guys, Kaswiti, Bella, all the incredible people that get to watch these shows. Anyone who has seen Jedi Moon, please tell her we miss her so much, because we don't see her on the comments. It's been like a week. We miss you. So if you're taking leave or wherever you are, just know the LNN team misses you, and the thousands of you that also get to comment. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for being active participants of our work. It's been a journey. We are heading to 1M subscribers. So if you've watched this and you've not subscribed, please subscribe. It goes a long way. And also thank you to our amazing partners that I spoke of at the beginning of this show, Maridadi Motors and also Kings Developers Limited. You can check out all the details in their respective companies. Go get yourself cars and get yourself houses. And I know, by the way, there's nothing wrong with manifesting big things for yourself. I hope we have more conversations on abundance manifest. I hope people know that if someone else has done things, you can. Like for me, it breaks my heart sometimes, even when I see potential, even in the people I work around, and I'm like, God, you know how much you have in you. Like, you don't even know. Like, you honestly, you don't know. And I love what Julian has concluded with. Set some time away from everything and just listen. Like, there is so much power in solitude, and there's so much power in knowing where your energy, you know, sit in a place and just think, and just, you know, like inaitwaje, restructure your thoughts and restructure your mind. And just a reminder, guys, your mind is not supposed to control you. You control your mind, which means you dictate which direction you want to go in life. Are we together? Good, good, good. Asanteni sana. Thank you to our amazing producer Edwin for putting this one pamoja. We appreciate you, and also to our incredible team, our editors, management, and the whole team at LNN for always making sure we get to give you guys episodes in the best way we can. I have been your host, Lynn. I'm gonna see you guys hopefully tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.